Welcome to the Copy Talk Podcast. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member, FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated. And now, here's your host, Shannon Ross.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We're back from a little hiatus.
Hey,
welcome. I haven't seen you.
I know.
In almost 3 weeks.
Well, we just saw each other in the parking lot, and I gave you a big old hug.
I know. So we'll be probably especially a little amped today.
We might be.
Because there's a lot to catch up on.
Some silly nillies today.
We will. It's summer. Welcome summer.
Yay.
Hello,
well,
everybody.
Not technically, but we believe it is.
Well, it's
We're
June. That's, kind of. I know it's not officially.
I'm in my flip-flops today. Heck yeah.
Oh,
I got the ones you bought me these for my birthday. Oh, my God.
Birthday's
Did you
so
just
cute.
take that off
So that was for her birthday when we went to Scottsdale.
Oh, shoot. I just moved. Now Kelly's going to kill me.
It's all right. It'll be okay.
Yeah, she'll give me the thumbs up if I'm okay.
But I bought us each a pair. I think it's funny, though, that I got you a birthday present that I also got myself. So it really kind of was selfish, I guess. Funny. But they were cute, and they're super comfortable.
They're very comfortable.
Happy.
Yes. Thank you for putting it back on my foot.
I actually have a present for you today, too.
You do?
Because I'm back from Texas,
Yay.
so I always bring you something a little bit back from my ventures.
From my... And it's from Texas, so it's from my homeland?
It is handmade in Texas.
Did you
I did not handmake, but I know the person who did. So it's like 1 degree removed. Oh, so,
your daughter?
But how are you? No, oh no.
Oh, now I'm just going to guess.
Don't guess. It'll come up in the show.
Okay.
I wanted to but how are you?
I'm good. I've missed you.
I've missed you too. I know. Tomorrow we're actually taking off to spend a day together.
Tomorrow is our day.
To have a pool day.
Yep.
I can't lose my tan. I can't peel.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do it. I don't want to lose any of it. I'll be like, when we're 90 in the old folks home together, like I will be a wrinkled mess, but I don't care.
Well, and I'm like day glow next to you. Hello. Me and all my whiteness. That's okay. You'll
have less freckles, age spots, and wrinkles. And you'll draw all the men in our old folks home. Because we always think our husbands maybe won't make it with us to the old folks home.
Everyone listening to this is like, wow, they've already killed off their husbands and they live in an old folks home. And one of them is a little sleep around. Anyways, okay, we won't go off the rails because I think we
have to dial it in. We have a really good final show today of wrapping up the series we've been working on.
But first, hold on.
But before we get there, we got some topics. You can pick your first one.
Okay. Did you watch it? Yes, I binged it. Stranger Things 4 came out May 27th.
Okay. So my daughter watched it fully the first night it was released.
Okay.
I've made it through episode 1 because I was told it was very scary. So, and at the end of episode 1, and I made the mistake of watching it late at night right before I went to bed.
No, big mistake.
And I didn't really love the last scene because
Christy the cheerleader,
her
bones popped.
Yeah, that was the part, and blood coming out of her eyes. I was like, right before bed, that image is let it go. On
top of the ceiling, nonetheless, after she levitated for a while.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to take a little break. So I've only
watched one?
Yes. I tried to start a new one last night. My husband's like, why are you still watching that? And I was like, well, I want to get through it. So I don't know.
Okay, so at the risk of making myself sound like a total nerd, and yes, I do have other things to do. I work, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I got equine, I cook now. I have already watched the whole season twice.
Oh, so maybe you can write me a little schedule of what scenes to close my eyes so I can watch it.
Well, first of all, it gets cheesier as it goes.
Okay.
Because on the first scene, I'm with you. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
I knew
that took a different turn.
A big budget, but whoa.
Yeah.
But after that, once you see that first scene, because several of those happen again, you already know it's coming because you see the clock. The clock is a very big indicator.
There's little tips I know, and then I can watch it and not be
Well, the clock is
traumatized.
Okay, so if they see the clock.
That's good to know.
Close your ears if you haven't watched this yet and you want to. Close your ears. If the clock is an indicator that your time is coming, but it's not yet.
Interesting.
So yes. But
did you read that, or did you just figure that out on your own?
Well, you'll see it because there's several victims. But yeah. with the same fate. Everybody levitates, everybody pops, everybody bleeds, everybody loses eyeballs. Yeah.
Okay.
Vecna. Anyways,
Yeah.
he's the 5-star general to the MindFlayer. That's who Vecna is.
I don't know anything you
MindFlayer
just
is,
said.
oh my gosh. Season 1, MindFlayer.
Oh,
Remember
I
this
didn't
guy?
know what it was called.
Oh.
The big spider thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Yes. So anyways, that said,
You
it gets...
are geeking out on it.
I am
love
a
it.
total geek about this. And I think you were right because on one of the shows you said the nostalgic because it was in the 80s.
Yes.
That
There
resonated.
is some nostalgia.
So
for
anyways,
sure.
keep watching. It's really good. It gets cheesier. They have a really great, they have a bigger budget. So what is it? CGI or whatever's better? Whatever. But they just confirmed a season 5. So
Nice.
July 1st, volume 2 drops. Season
Sweet.
5, we don't know. I sent my son a text with a picture of season 5. I saw it confirmed on social media. And of course, social media is right. So I sent it to him. He's like, oh, that's great. We'll get to watch it in 15 years.
Because they have taken a little while.
Fair point.
In between.
So
but-
anyways, okay, that was my
that's fun.
topic.
And I made you go see Top Gun because I thought it was amazing. Did any of you see Top Gun? No. And you're like, oh, I don't like it. Well, there's a lot of people. It just like busted out.
I'm apparently the only human on the planet that was like, really?
I
This
know.
was epic
You're the
and
only one
amazing?
I know who has seen it.
That didn't like it.
Youngsters.
Yes.
But loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it.
Okay, the dog fights were amazing. Flight
so
scenes were
good.
amazing. So the action scenes, yes, epic, amazing. Other than that, total cheese ball. Oh my God. If
Whatever.
I heard, it's not the plane, it's the pilot. Oh,
Oh,
God,
I know.
Don't
but that's,
think, just do.
Yeah,
Oh,
I loved all of it.
It's cringeworthy to me.
Yes.
And the scene at the end against the car, give me a break. I think they just tried to tie it in too much to
You're
the
a
first
tough
one.
critic, man.
I mean,
Whew.
I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise fan
I
either,
know.
but I'm willing to put that aside because I did love Maverick,
Yeah.
Top Gun 1, loved it.
Yeah.
So I
loved how they started the beginning similar to how the first one started. That was probably my favorite part.
the beginning
Yeah.
is the best part, and then besides the dogfight scenes, and then the part with when they're in the territory or in their foreign territory
Yeah.
in the woods and he pushes them down. That's the funniest part of the movie. And the rest of it, I'm like, so
Oh my goodness.
when is this going to be over?
I think we're going to go see it again this weekend. So, anywho.
I would definitely not spend my money.
Now,
on
have
it
you
again.
been watching your Platinum Jubilee across the pond?
Of course.
I'm sure you have.
Of course I have. I mean, bless her heart.
All the things. Bless the queen.
She missed the horse race on Saturday. That's a big deal. For her to miss that, horses are her love. The fact that she missed the
Yeah.
church service, I'm like, not surprised. She's been to a lot of those. I mean, if I were her, I'd be like, I'm not feeling so great today. Not that I don't love church, but
Yeah.
she had a hard time moving around. But to miss the horses, I think we're about, this could be the last
This
year
could be
for
why
the
she was
queen.
hanging on so long.
This could be the last year for the queen, which is
know.
devastating to I
Well,
mean,
she's been amazing for a very long time.
she is amazing.
Yeah.
Hats off to
Totally.
the queen. God save the queen.
I know. Okay, is you ready for your present?
Oh, we're doing this here.
Yes.
Oh,
To
yeah.
right now.
And then we're getting to the show.
Then we'll get to the
Everybody's like,
show.
God, ladies,
Whatever.
we really
this
don't
is
care.
fun because I also here you go.
Pretties. It's
So
a candle.
it is.
Can I smell
yes,
it?
You can smell it because it's amazing. You like my ribbon that I gave
I do
you?
love the ribbon. I know this. Don't
I was
you worry.
tying that actually at home this morning, and I could see Justin being like, "Why do you have that ribbon?" But he didn't ask me. So
You were
I was
hiding it? A ribbon? Oh, because
he doesn't. You know, we
doesn't-
haven't like fully seen.
Is there a trick to this? Or
want me to try to-
well,
Okay, don't break a nail.
I could. Oh, yeah.
There you go. Well,
I
you
hate
know.
when you do that. That always happens. I'm not a weakling. Oh, that smells good.
So it's called what? Lily
you.
of the Valley.
Yeah.
right?
So somebody
Okay,
made this.
so yes. So in Texas, my neighbor in Texas is a darling woman. She's amazing, mama, several kids, 4 kids. And they have a great,
sorry,
beautiful
pause.
property.
I wasn't listening.
I
Could
know.
you back up? The lady.
My neighbor in Texas, Justin calls her my Texas bestie because it's literally the only woman I ever hang out with in Texas. And so we went out to wine once. And again, he makes a joke because we never really made a lot of friends in Texas. So like he sees one guy that he knows by name at the grocery store and he's like, "Hey, I saw my Texas bestie." And he like barely knows him. So it's a joke. But she's amazing. You will love her. Anywho, she and her husband
It's a good story.
own
Just kidding. Keep
own
going.
acreage that is absolutely beautiful, and they've called it Cedar Valley Ranch.
Okay.
And so they're breeding horses, they're building stables. It's gorgeous.
The life I want.
Oh, it's
The life I want.
absolutely.
Okay.
And so during COVID, she started this candle company called Cedar Valley Candles,
Very
and it's like
cool.
cedarvalleyshop.com is the URL.
Nice.
But you know us in candles, right? So
Yeah.
I was telling her, my husband has a fetish with candles. We probably spend, thousands of dollars a year on candles.
Sure.
So she gave me a couple, and then I'm going to buy more, but they're amazing. Like she gave me 3.
Nice.
And so they're one of the best candles we've ever smelled.
Okay, we should plug them so
I
people
know.
go
So
and buy candles.
cedarvalleyshop.com.
Yep.
It's amazing. And so I wanted to bring you one.
Well,
So-
just to clarify, I'm from Texas and I'm your bestie. So there's no such thing as a Texas bestie. I don't care if she's your neighbor. I don't care if you had 15 glasses of wine. I don't care if she made you laugh your pants off. There is no one but me and
I
making
didn't
myself sound
make
like
that point.
some
So-
borderline crazy stalker. But
So-
go for you,
Yeah,
lady.
thanks.
What's her name? What's her name?
Daysha is her name. I didn't say her
Daysha.
name. Daysha with a D.
Daysha. Go for you,
Daysha.
Daysha. Go for you. I like it.
So I'm a big
You
fan.
make good candles.
So
I like
she
it.
does. So a lot of people will be getting those as gifts for me, I think, this year.
That's pretty smart. I like it. That does
So-
smoke. Thank you very much.
You're
for my
welcome.
gift.
I was thinking
I
of
love
you.
presents.
And yes, I wanted to bring you
Well,
back
I
a
hope
gift.
so.
So
Even though you're in your heaven, that's fine.
it is my happy place. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
But you're home now,
I am
so-
home now. And we're good. We're doing well.
it's
We're going
good.
to have a pool day tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
we
that'll
are.
be good. So as we
Okay.
finish up this series.
Now we've got 5 minutes.
No, I know.
I'm kidding.
As we finish up, we've been talking the past 3 shows on healing from life's greatest disappointment.
Yes.
I told you before the show started today that our viewership has gone up 10 times during this episode, during these episodes, because I think it's really resonating with people, because everyone has disappointments. Everyone has great disappointment in their life. It kind of comes with the territory. And so we've been walking through step by step kind of how do you heal from these things. May was Mental Health Awareness Month. We talked a lot about that. If you haven't listened to the 3 previous shows, please go back, because they each kind of build upon another. Last show, we talked a lot about how forgiveness helps us clear out these really deeply rooted emotions that not only get us stuck in life, but really can do damage in our physical health as well. And so what we're going to finish up on today is kind of the final piece of this puzzle we've been building. And what we talked about one of the first shows in this series was why do we get stuck? Why do we kind of circle the same mountains? I have a lot of patients that will come into my counseling office and they will say, I keep dating the same guy, or I keep dating the same girl. I can't get out of this rut. Like, I'm looking for something different, but I always end up the same. Or I keep going for these same kind of jobs, or I keep going, around these same kind of addictions that are really hard to break, or whatever kind of, what is that mountain in your own life? Because we've all had them. And so what is that tie? What is that cord? Almost like, what is that chain that chains you to that mountain? And so we're going to tackle that piece today.
Okay.
And what we're going to focus on are lies and vows. We mentioned them last show. But where we're going to get to is what fundamental, and when I say fundamental, you're not going to scratch these off the surface. These are going to be things, you can walk through it with a counselor. You can walk through it with people who really know you. But what are some fundamental lies you are operating from kind of in your hard drive that are tying you to making the same mistakes over and over and over again?
So when you say tying to, do you mean things like that you've made an agreement with something, like you've believed XYZ?
Yes.
And you need to come to a place of identifying what that agreement is. Is that what you mean by lies and vows? So that
identifying what it is and how to get rid of it, how to replace it.
Okay.
So say you grew up and you come from a home that you never felt good enough. You never felt that whatever you did wasn't good enough, from parents, from relatives, whatever, so that you came out of your house feeling very worthless.
Okay.
Like, I'm never good enough. So this lie starts to build, kind of like a weed starts to build in your core kind of self.
Okay.
And then you believe it. So it's not just that it exists, but you believe it, kind of like you drink the poison.
So you've agreed with
You've
it.
agreed with
enough.
it, and you've you've given authority and power to it.
Okay.
So, because now you believe, and believe is, whatever we're operating from a belief system,
Right.
that is going to be. So now if I believe I'm worthless,
Okay.
what is that going to do to me, to my actions,
Okay.
to my company I hold, to my decisions I make?
And how you allow people to treat you.
Right.
Yep.
So how many people you see, if they feel worthless, they start dating people who make them feel worthless because they're stuck in
Well, it
this
may treat them
worthless rut, because
like
it's
they're
the
not.
familiarity. So
Okay.
what they don't know is that their subconscious is seeing in that person something they're familiar with.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe that about myself. This person
Oh, that
will
makes
help me
sense.
believe that about
Yeah.
myself. It's this twisted kind of backwards way, but it's this chain. It's some people call these strongholds,
Okay.
where because you believe that you are worthless,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that not all the things, but a lot of the things that you find on repeat in your life are exactly reconfirming that belief.
Okay.
Or it could
makes
be a
sense.
vow.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about
Yeah.
this
What's the difference
show
between the line?
last week. I will always, or I will never.
Okay.
What are the things that you are what are the things that you find and I find with vows, you typically say them a lot.
Okay.
Like, I will never be my father. I will never be my father.
Okay.
I will never be my mother. Or they could be, I will always be self-sufficient.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that vows you can identify, like, what
I will never trust again. I will never.
Yeah. I will never let myself be duped again. I will never let myself, but it can be not always just never, but always.
Okay.
I will always be the best no matter what.
Whatever. Yeah.
I will always make sure I have a certain dollar amount in my bank account. I will always, I will always be the most competitive on the field.
Okay.
What have you. And what happens when we do those kind of vows is it ties us to a chain, a different kind of chain, but then all of the things that we go after is tied to confirming that vow, to fulfilling that vow. So if the vows aren't healthy for us because they come with a lot of striving, they come with a lot of things to do in our own strength. They exhaust us because they're unnatural.
Okay.
And what you'll also see with vows, they tend to be both lies and vows, but I find it more so with vows, generational in nature.
Okay.
So there's sometimes a generational hook. So you'll see this with a lot of things that might repeat in your family is another good thing to kind of, as we equip you all with a process, with doing some self-assessment. You don't have to have a counselor. If you want a counselor and you want to really get serious about moving on in your life and becoming more healthy mentally and physically, find a therapist who knows about this stuff. We have a list on our website of therapists that are specifically trained in this. But those are the things you want to tackle, because you'll see in family lines, there's usually generational ties with abuse. There's usually generational ties with addiction. There's usually generational ties with divorce.
Yeah.
There's usually generational ties with, so many things. And it could be there's generational ties with wealth building, but how they do it and what it does to them.
Yeah.
It's sneaky. These lies and vows are sneaky because they come from a very sneaky source. They come from a very sneaky place. And it's part of that dark part of our world that's there.
Okay.
And we've all, and none of us are free from this, no matter what.
So I have a question. As I'm thinking through this, the lies part, I actually have I have a better understanding of that, and that makes more sense to me. But the always piece, like, are you saying? Because I am listening, but if
if you're listening to this podcast and paying attention,
are you saying that anytime someone says, "I will always," fill in the blank.
Not any time.
Well,
Not
and I don't
any
mean
time.
like I will always take care of my child. Of course, that I will always take care of. Well, until he needs to get out and take care of himself. Maybe that was
which is not a vow. But
right,
if it was a vow,
true.
he'd be living in your basement as a 55-year-old, and you're still, making him breakfast and doing his laundry,
and making his bed.
so turn into that.
But like I will always, there was one that you said, because I think somebody could say, well, what's wrong with saying I will always be the best on the field? So for an athlete who is striving to be the best that they can be at soccer or basketball, whatever the case may be, I will always be the best basketball player on the court. Are you saying that is a inappropriate vow to make? Is that bad? Is that...
It can cross over to bad when this person will do anything it takes, ethical or non-ethical, to be the best on the court. Like they cannot mentally put their mind around not being the best, which is only a matter of time before they're not the best.
Because they're not going to.
And so when they then reality strikes and they're not the best, then what does that do to them?
So it's more about that
unraveling.
Toxic, more about a toxic. Where that is coming from. That place where that vow comes from.
Yes.
It's really, so it's more of what's going on in the heart behind the vow.
That's right.
That makes it toxic.
That's right.
Or
I mean, again, I take my own, whatever we say on the show, we're doing ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I've been pushing through. One of the things I did while I was off the last few weeks is trying to figure out, I have some really core fear that really makes it challenging for me to take certain steps in my life.
Okay.
And specific steps, more steps of like risk to take. Say it could be to buy a new business or to go on a limb and make an investment, to me it's usually financially driven. Why? Okay. So I was trying to like do some of this obviously myself as well, because fear is really what spurs on. It can spur on addiction because you need to escape from the fear. It can spur on other things. Right. So it's. I always try to get to the source. Like, what is the source of what I'm feeling? What is the source in the pit of my stomach? That anxiety. That
when you get to all the layers.
When you get to all the layers. And so for me, because of how I grew up and just how I decided to chart a path of survival through different hard times in my life, I can see myself definitely making a vow, because I always keep going back to, I have to be self-sufficient. I have to know all the facts. I have to be prepared so that I can't fail. And it's very I-driven. I.
Well, keep in mind, you also just said, when I started to chart my path of survival, because that was your mindset.
Absolutely. I was like, it was me, myself, and I. I mean, it was really my holy trinity at that time was me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
Even in my faith as a kid,
it
was, okay, Lord, I'll let you in, but only to this part.
And then the
final mile,
the rest of me got it. Yeah.
And so I have to keep battling that, because on my own default, that is not 100% gone yet.
Yeah.
Especially in the lack category, because I think I fear lack. Mm-hmm. I fear not having what I need when I need it. Mm-hmm. And I've looked to myself more than any other source to fill that. Now, I don't want to do that. Why? Because it stresses me out. Mm-hmm. It puts me into striving mode. It exhausts me. Why? Because I'm doing this all in my own strength. Right. I'm not built, like we talked last show, I'm not built to be my own God. Yeah. I've tried it. I suck at it.
Yeah.
I hate it. Mm-hmm. And so there's still areas in my life where I have to identify, I don't want to be my own God, because it wages war against my soul, and it puts me into, and then bad habits or bad, it only steals from me. Mm-hmm. It is not life-giving in any way. So I had to literally go through this exercise myself of, okay, what is it that I'm fearing? And it is, I will be alone. I will be left to my own devices. I will have to bail myself out. I will, if I make a mistake, again, so a lot of I statements.
Would you say those are
so that vow
lies?
Of I will be always self-sufficient, or I always need to be self-sufficient?
Okay.
Then lies come in on top of that.
Okay.
Because I don't have to be self-sufficient. There's power in needing others.
Yeah.
There's power in building community. There's power in allowing others, having each other's back. There's, in my faith, there's power of letting the Lord in, and Him. With me, things are definitely impossible. Mm-hmm. There are certain categories of things that no matter how hard I try or work or strive or what have you, I will never accomplish in my own strength.
Right.
And so one of the things that have propelled my faith was getting to a level when I needed to dispel the lies in my life. I had to look for an ultimate truth. I found that in the Bible and in Jesus, and we've talked about that on the show before. Other people find truth other ways. I don't know any other source of ultimate truth than the Lord.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
But I had to replace those lies with the truth. So how I do that is, for me, what's really powerful is memorizing scripture and meditating on it and really getting to a place where I believe it. Because again, it comes down to belief.
Yeah.
If you grow up feeling worthless, it takes a lot to cancel out those kind of core lies in your life. And so it's not just identifying. You can identify the lies and vows you've made and believed all day long, but it's confessing them. It's finding a source of truth to replace them, because ultimately you have to replace your hard drive. You have to replace so that you are then living out of a belief of, I am worthy. I am capable. I am anointed. I am approved.
Well, this doesn't, and somebody could be sitting there going, that's great. You can say those things all you want. Because if you've believed something and then you built a life around that belief.
Yeah.
So let's say you believe you weren't worthy or valuable, but now you've built a life with other people in certain relationships, the way that you've treated your own self for up to maybe 45 years or whatever. You've continually fed that. So I don't want people to hear that it's not a one sit down session of, okay, I'm going to believe this and I'm going to state this belief and I'm going to say that I'm worthy and I'm not. It's not a one stop shop flash in the pan.
I'm on year 44.
Yeah. It's going to take a
cutting
really
self-sufficiency out of my life.
Yeah, a long time
Yeah.
to walk. But what you're giving is a foundation of where to start and what are some practical things that you can do, and then to build on that.
Yeah.
I think counseling is an integral part.
It will definitely help
how
get
people do it
to
without
there
it, but
quicker.
Yeah, I think it will
more
get there faster.
effectively.
But I just wanted people to understand, like, this is not because some people will sit back and go, that is not even feasible for me. Like, I've lived too long and believed this lie too much, so what's the point of going? It's hard work.
Oh, it is.
It's not easy. I mean, we don't want to make it sound like it's easy.
And it comes to a place where you have to be tired enough of circling the mountain.
That is the truth.
Like, it's that question of, like, how tired are you?
Yeah.
Are you tired
I've
enough
asked my question that a million times. April, how tired are you? Are we there yet? Yes.
And the deeper things, you wear yourself out and you wear yourself down. And it's usually, pretty rock bottom until you're like, fine, I'm at that point. Because you have to want to.
Yeah.
You have to, like you said, do the hard work. It's great to do it in a counselor's office who's trained to help identify where these lies and vows exist and how to, over time, like you said, over time, to battle them and get rid of them. And then you also have to be kind of intentional. Like, it's like a weed. Like, when you pull a weed and for a while, everything looks beautiful and everything, but then you get a little lazy or then you get a little, just life goes on. You're not always being introspective every day. But then you find, like I did, when I kind of did some introspective work on my vacation, I was like, that weed, it's starting to grow back. It's not a huge tall weed like it used to be, but I don't want it in my life. Like, will I get to a point one day where I pull that weed out and it never comes back? I hope so.
Sure.
But like,
that's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. But with a root system that's so deeply entrenched in your life, it might take a few pulls.
Well, and don't be discouraged if you find yourself going back to the place going, gosh, I'm pulling this up again. Like, here it's rearing its ugly head again. You're human. Show yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the process too, is showing yourself some grace and forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
For believing those things.
Yeah.
Because the root of it may not really be your fault. It was how you were raised.
Sure.
It really was. But you can't stay in the victim place. You have to move past that and begin to pull those weeds up and to show yourself. I mean, you gotta love yourself through the process, because it's not
and what
easy.
you also have to, if you're looking at patterns in your family line, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm cursed. I hear people say that a lot. Like, I'm cursed. I'm cursed. I'm cursed. I can never change. When you do more study on generational curses can't just like fall on you. Someone can't just put a spell and curse your life. You have, at some point, you have buy-in in that curse. Yeah. At some point, you believe that curse.
And sometimes it feels easier to believe it
life
than it does to fight it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's all you've seen.
Yeah.
It looks hopeless.
What's the comfortable?
It's
still the comfortable factor that you mentioned earlier. And just to plug again, I do agree with, because you've heard in previous shows, if you haven't, go back, listen to them. We have mentioned a type of therapy called Splunk, which if you've Googled it and looked at it, you might read it and be like,
that's different.
But again, if you're tired, you might be willing to give it a shot.
If you're desperate and tired, give it a shot, because that's how most patients, cross the line into my
But for me, it's been,
office.
I have more quickly been able to identify it, because some of these will be so deep to just the crux of who you are and to your core and your fabric that you don't know are there, that are hard to identify. And Splunkna is able to bring those things
Yeah.
out far more quickly, at least for me.
Well, because it's a whole protocol of counseling meant to tackle these specific things.
Yeah.
It's made to tackle and identify lies and vows. It's made to tackle and identify agreements you've made. Because I don't want to do this, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It has that complexity to it, but that's what it's focused around. So that's why I think people come, even if it's like, wow, I have no idea what you're doing. And,
that's weird.
We'll learn it through the way and explain
Don't
it
worry,
through,
it's not like it doesn't involve like electroshock.
Oh, gosh, no. Yeah.
Don't think Stranger Things lab room. Don't think that. That's not what it is.
It's non-invasive.
No, it really is.
It's very harmless and non-invasive.
Nobody's sprinkling things over you.
Yeah.
Or,
No. Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, I remember when I first did, I was like,
yeah, because you're doing a lot of things at once. You're
a
saying things out loud. You're, tapping into your emotional highway, which we talked about last week. You're doing a lot of things, but that's why it makes it powerful. And again, the proof is in the pudding. Yeah. The proof is in the results. Like when I found this as a patient, it was because of the level of desperation I didn't have any more time to circle this mountain. Yeah. So I was willing to do anything that didn't compromise, myself or whatever. But because of the power of it, that's why I chose that path, because I needed something to work. And for me, it worked. And now I see, thousands of patients that, maybe it's not for everybody because maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they're not ready. And that's okay. And maybe they come for a little bit and then they take a break. Everything is, I just don't want people to be stuck. Yeah. I don't, because it just steals and kills so much of our lives. And we only have one go around, you know? So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't really live in regret. But if I ever take a hot minute to look back, I'm like, why did I let myself think that was okay for so long?
Well, with age should come wisdom.
So
we always
encourage everyone, like if you have those areas, like spend some time, like what are some areas, what are some mountains that you're circling? What are some generational things that you see repeating that are not life-giving, that you find in your own life, do those kind of things. Because again, also, if you have children, guess where that's heading next?
Right.
So if you can work on your stuff now, you can actually also help your children in this so that they don't have to see history
Well, and if
repeat.
you see it, if you come out of that place, but then you start to see your children circle that mountain, you'll have the wisdom and the experience to at least speak into their lives of what you had to, what you were able to do to get out of that. Because it's not all your fault, parents, just because your kids do. I mean, that also can be a big shame and blame game. Parents, it's not always your fault what your kids are doing. It is not. Whether you did it or not, it's their own decision making. Yeah. But when you walk through some of these steps to become free of these things, then you can speak and share that wisdom with them from experience. Because our kids know if we're full of crap. Let's just be
totally.
They know if they're like, yeah, okay, because I see.
And they might think a while, no matter
way.
what, that we are, no matter what. But then life teaches them that, that mom's not an idiot.
And they see they can see the change in us.
Yeah.
Our parents, our kids are very observant.
For sure.
And then they see us change, and then they feel like we have authority, but more authority to speak into whatever it is that's challenging them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So what we wanted to do is tackle in this series, just to give people a process, to give you all a process to at least a starting point. Yeah. And to give you some resources.
Is the list on our website of actual practitioners?
It is, yes. Okay. So in the resource bank, if you go to copytalkpodcast.com, you can find resource bank, and then you can find the website, Splunkna website, splunkna.com, to find a practitioner. Yeah. Or, other resources that are on there too. Great books, whatever.
How tired are you? It's worth a shot. How tired are you?
So before we close out today's show, where can people find us other than our website?
Copy Talk. Okay, see, you threw me off. You can't. You can't do that. I
rephrased it.
This is the J in me. That's very. Is that my J? Is that my S?
That's your. Well, it's both.
Oh, okay. The SJ in me, Myers-Briggs. But Copy Talk. We have an Instagram. Let's get it together, April. Wake up, Instagram. That's our handle. Handle? Is it a handle? Copy Talk podcast. Speak words. Did you give us? Send us a message. Okay, I'm sorry. I just got YouTube. That's our favorite. I need to just move on. Subscribe, share.
Hashtag.
Ryan.
Well, first of all, I have to do hashtag spoilers because of what you guys did with Top Gun and Stranger Things.
Sorry.
But the one related to the bulk of the episode, hashtag Unchain.
Oh.
How do you do that?
Again,
Talk about
mic drop.
anointed. Like, if you ever need hashtag, come here, producer Ryan.
Killing it.
Kill it.
There it is.
Awesome.
You should start a little job. That could be your side hustle. You need a hashtag? I got you.
I love it. Unchained. Sweet. Boom.
Sweet.
Well,
Love
good.
it.
We'll,
Boom.
we'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated.